In today's tour, we're going to Crater Lake, the deepest lake in the US and the ninth deepest in the world. This extraordinary lake has a maximum depth of 1,949 feet and is more than 6,000 feet above sea level. When we finally reached the top of the caldera rim and had the first sight of Crater Lake, our jaws dropped open for a minute. The pure, crystalline blue color of the lake is truly astounding. It's totally unreal, I'm telling you. The color is even more intense, more vibrant than the sky, the ocean, and the sapphire. The only word I had at the moment was, wow! How did this impossibly beautiful natural wonder form in the first place? It's all started with a big, violent eruption of Mount Mazama 7,700 years ago. That eruption almost completely drained the magma inside Mount Mazama. Since there was no more support from below, under its own weight, the top part of the volcano collapsed into the emptied magma chamber and formed the caldera where the crater lake is now. As one of the composite volcanoes of the Cascade volcanic arc, Mount Mazama once stood 12,000 feet high, and the major eruption reduced its height by a third. That massive eruption is the largest among the Cascade Range volcanoes in the last million years. It's estimated that the ejected material could cover the entire Oregon in 8-inch deep ash. After the major eruption, there were a series of minor eruptions within the caldera that sealed the bottom when the lava cooled down. Afterwards, Mount Mazama went dormant, and water from snowmelt started to accumulate in the caldera. After thousands of years, finally, Crater Lake was born. However, the name Crater Lake is actually inaccurate according to today's definition, because the lake is in a caldera instead of a crater. A caldera is the hollow depression formed when the top part of a volcano collapses into the emptied magma chamber. Caldera is rare but usually much bigger. On the other hand, a crater is the vent of a volcano where lava and ash are coming out. In fact, you could see a crater on top of Wizard Island. It is the cinder cone of one of the minor eruptions, and the only volcanic cone that is above water now. Crater Lake also has the clearest water. Polarity readings from a Secchi disk have consistently been measured as being 120 feet. This is because Crater Lake has no other water flowing in other than rain and snowmelt. And there is only one access point to this pure, clear, deep blue water, whether it's for fishing, boating, or swimming. That is through hiking down the steep Clearest Cove Trail. Walking up 770 feet to the rim of the caldera makes this hike difficult, but there are a lot of shades and benches for you to rest along the way, so it's a manageable hike. Just remember to bring enough drinking water. And you won't regret it, because you will be amazed again by the clear and deep blue water when you reach Clearest Cove. Two major factors contribute to this deep blue color of Crater Lake. One is the clarity or purity of its water. The other is its immense depth. While dipping your toes in the clear water, it is very easy to spot the crayfish hiding among the rocks near the shore. There were no fish or crayfish in the Crater Lake originally. Trout and crayfish were only introduced to the lake in the late 1800s. Now, crayfish can be found in more than 80% of the shore area and replace many local amphibian species. Along the rim drive, there is a lot of evidence of past volcanic activities of Mount Mazama. The collapse of Mount Mazama and the erosion later revealed these volcanic rocks. Pumice Castle is the yellow rock formation on the cliff that resembles battlements of a castle. Pumice has a rough surface with many small holes. It's formed when molten rocks filled with air bubbles violently ejected from a volcano and cools off rapidly. Mount Scott is another volcanic cone. It is the highest point in the national park. However, the crater on top is already eroded away. The phantom ship seems small from the overlook, but it is quite tall. The highest point is as tall as a 14-story building. It is a rare remnant of an ancient volcanic cone that is over 400,000 years old. Later, it was engulfed by the growing Mount Mazama, but somehow it survived the collapse of Mount Mazama. On the northwestern side of the rim, there is a huge gray rock called Leo Rock. It's hardened lava inside a vent that was once on the north slope of Mount Mazama. The name Leo is the below-world god in local Native American legend. Leo had an epic battle with the above-world god Skyle. Fiery red rocks were thrown all over the sky. Leo lost in the end, and Skyle made Mount Mazama fall on Leo so that Leo can never come back to the above world. This shows the ancestors of a local Klamath tribe have witnessed the major eruption of Mount Mazama 7,000 years ago and passed it down as a legend through generations. Along a short pinnacle trail, you can find many dark-colored, strange-looking pinnacles. After the collapse of Mount Mazama, gas-charged volcanic materials rushed out from the cracks and filled the surrounding valleys. Thousands of years of erosion removed all the loose materials and exposes the hardened spire or pinnacles inside. Watchman Overlook is a good place to watch the sunset. It's right next to Wizard Island to the west. If you could hike another 0.8 miles to the old fire lookout tower on top of Watchman Peak, the view is even more grand. We found some plants with cute, fluffy balls at the overlook. They looked very much like the Truffula trees from Dr. Seuss' story The Lorax, well, except for the color. Actually, we saw these plants before at Mount Rainier National Park. They are Western pasque flower. At that time, the flowers still had their petals. Without their petals, they transform into these cute, fuzzy balls. I wonder whether we could make seeds from them. Clark's nutcrackers also live on the rim. They could survive the harsh winter on the mountain by storing the seeds of whitebark pines. These smart little birds have a very good spatial memory. They could remember their cache of seeds even after 9 months. Sometimes the overstocked seeds will grow into new whitebark pines. This helps the iconic whitebark pines come back to Crater Lake National Park after the older generation of whitebark pines were nearly wiped out by a pine tree disease. Finally, could you spot the old man in the vast, deep blue lake? The old man is a white log that is floating vertically in the lake for over 100 years now. It appears just as a few white pixels in the image with a completely blue background. Who finds the old man first is a fun game to play with kids during the waiting time for the sunset. This concludes our tour of Crater Lake National Park. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe for more and see you next time.